I'm Adam Aaronson, and earlier this year I was offered the exceptional privilege of holding a one-man show of my glass sculpture at Birtley House in Bramley. The exhibition is called Inspiration in the Garden, and the title piece is called Inspiration. This substantial sculpture is a collaborative work that I have been developing based on my Boundaries series of sculptures, and my friend Mary Branson, the installation artist, has acted as an advisor and unofficial mentor to the project. So far, I've asked more than 40 people to donate a word that inspires them, and these words form part of the sandblast engraved decoration of the piece. I really liked the idea of asking people to make a donation that wasn't a financial donation, to help create a piece that would raise funds for our chosen charity, the Halo Project. These words have been donated by a diverse group of people, artists and sculptors whom I admire, as well as members of my family, long-standing friends, and of course members of my team, past and present. You may have come across the Halo Project, which supports young people with learning difficulties and works closely with Birtley House in giving them outdoor work experience. I really enjoy making the flames and pods. These whimsical, botanical-inspired sculptures are fun to have in your garden, growing up between your plants all year round. They can also be commissioned in a variety of colours, so don't worry if your favourite has already been sold. You can specify the post size depending on the height you require. At Birtley House, we've installed some of the items close to the ground, while others are raised higher to suit the landscape. Dotted around the garden, some in the orchard, some in the rose garden, are a series of pieces that I call faces in the crowd. Crowds have their own critical mass, but they're full of individuals. In Faces in the Crowd, there's a deliberate sense of ambiguity in the forms used. Intentionally, the viewer is left wondering what these elements are. Could they be flowers or birds? Fish, faces, caricatures, puppets, or simply abstract glass shapes? The choice is yours. The figures are not intended to be literal, but are designed to resonate differently with each onlooker. They're rugged individuals with their own personalities, but they can live together in harmony. Opposite the beehives, you can find my empathy sculptures. I think of these as contemplative sculptures resembling thought bubbles. Their subtle opaline colours are at once transparent and opaque. Are they simply decorative, or do they resonate and reflect your thoughts? Sited on the lawn, near the gazebo, you can find my cloud garden sculptures, which depict a colourful, abstract flowerscape upon their surfaces, and were inspired by 17th century Dutch flower paintings, so they're evocative of the shapes and vibrant colours of the floral masterworks. My Boundaries sculptures are inspired by a higgledy-piggledy fence, and they're quite whimsical, designed to draw on the viewer's imagination. A fence can keep people out, or alternatively, it can keep them in. In Boundaries, there are gaps, and these represent opportunities to step through and see life from a different perspective. I've been planning the piece entitled Don't Fence Me In for a couple of years, and this is sited in the meadow. It's an allegorical piece where the fence creates a boundary, but there are significant gaps between the fence posts, and that suggests room for negotiation. Each fence post has a finial. Do you think those are unicorn horns, or maybe Pinocchio noses? Or are they gnomes' hats? There's quite a lot of orange involved, so we're obviously not talking about the Berlin Wall here, but there may be an allusion to another topical wall on the other side of the Atlantic. The group of 5 pieces, entitled Cloudscape, was inspired by the beauty of waterscapes and landscapes, made diverse by the nature of light upon them, creating reflections, abstractions, and shadow. Each of these surfaces is created as a canvas, depicting a shimmering moment of reflection, capturing river and sea. I've placed 3 pieces from my Abstract Emotions series on the island in the middle of the lake. These elegant sculptural figures represent the human condition and our thoughts. They express my own feelings at a point in time, and they're intended to be thought-provoking. Are they happy and content, or sad and anxious? That can depend on the way the weather affects the light, or the angle you're looking at them. The viewer's interpretation of these abstract emotions may well reflect their own feelings at the time, which may in fact be affected by the weather as well. The gardens at Birtley House have played a pivotal and important part in the development of my sculpture, so every time I come here, it feels a bit like coming home. In 2012, I met Juliet Scott, a fellow sculptor who was responsible for the development of the well-known annual exhibition series of sculpture at Birtley House, which developed into a Surrey Sculpture Society exhibition. At that stage, I'd been making indoor work for more than 25 years, but I'd been yearning to do some outdoor work. I think that Juliet saw a spark of potential and suggested that I visit Birtley in Bramley, Surrey, and it was that visit that catalysed a gradual but substantial change in my focus. And I found that Birtley was not just a source of inspiration for me, but also a great place to experiment. It's really important to take your work on location so you can get a sense of perspective and depth that you can't do back at the studio. It's wonderful to get the feeling of filling empty space with meaning. For those of you here as potential purchasers, when you buy an artist's work, you're not just buying that specific item. You're making an important statement because you're buying a point in time of the artist's career. And even more important, you're enabling the artist to develop their next piece of work. There's nothing more inspirational for an artist than seeing their work going to a good home. I'd like to thank the Whatley family for their constant encouragement in developing my work. As you go around and view the exhibition, I hope you'll see things that will make your heart rate go up and your spirit will soar. Thank you for visiting, and remember, if you see something you like, it could be yours.